Classic YouTube, a hub of some of the worst and best content to ever hit the internet, or as it was known, the Wild West. But that comparison's cringe anyways, who cares? The internet is way more wild today anyway. Seriously, what's more traumatizing? Lively videos or Instagram brain rot? Anyway, I grew up at the tail end of this era, like in Red Dead 2 with the West being tamed. Their life is like video game. I remember watching my fair share of classic, weird, gross, ugly, horrible, semi-traumatic videos. So I thought, why not go back and look at some of these to see if it was just shocking at the time or if they really live up to being traumatic. Even though I wouldn't call all of these videos traumatic. A lot of them are still really weird and I'm never going to be able to talk about them again, so let's go back to the time of unrestricted internet access and crippling housing market crashes. Charlie the Unicorn is fucking weird. Like I said, I wouldn't really call it scary, but I don't know, maybe someone found Blue and Pink really creepy. That is their canon name, by the way. Anyway, this series was created by Film Cow, who's behind other popular series like Llamas with Hats, which I guess we'll talk about later. The series stars the titular Charlie the Unicorn as he's constantly thrown into these horrible adventures by Blue and Pink. Yeah, the world they inhabit can only be described as a living hell. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some popular fan theory out there about this being some purgatory or personal hell for Charlie. I mean, hell, they literally even mention it in the show.
I think I died long ago and you two were my eternal punishment.
You're like a constant downer, huh?
But we're getting a little ahead of ourselves. The first video in the series plays out like a typical video from this time, random humor and nothing making sense. I still really enjoy the first video. It's a lot slower than I remember and I think it still holds up. Honestly, I don't know how someone even thinks of this concept without being on a metric fuck ton of drugs. And it was pretty popular, so you know what that means. Sequel.
Open.
I think episode 2 easily beats out the original with shit like, I don't know, the letter Z. This episode also really amps up the powers of Blue and Pink, calling to question their true nature. All they do in the original is float at the end, but now they're like summoning vortexes, flying, and even speaking Spanish. Ugh. Truly making you wonder just what the hell they are. They were just there to make Charlie's life miserable. That's all we needed to know. They could be aliens or from the future. Maybe they're regular unicorns and Charlie's the weird one. Or maybe they're demons. It's the fourth one, by the way. Yeah, this question did get answered. It turns out they're like two ancient evil chaos demons that are puppeting the corpses of dead unicorns. Yeah, that makes sense. That's probably the easiest way to explain literally anything they do. Anyway, this episode basically follows the same formula, with random wacky things happening while they just walk to a certain place before finally reaching the destination where some crazy weird song happens. But whatever, it's actually nice to see Charlie happy for like one moment in his miserable life, even though it gets taken away in almost an instant and all his shit gets stolen. Can't have shit in Candy Mountain. Anyway, on to my personal favorite, Charlie the Unicorn 3. I've always liked this one more than the others, no real reason to be honest, but I found it the funniest and I remember quoting it constantly.
The door! The door!
The door.
The door.
It also easily has the best song in the entire series.
Fish, blackfish, alligator, ice fish, hammerhead, anaconda, flathead.
The original 3 were all made around 3 years of each other, and the ending to episode 3 ties back to episode 1, so it could have ended there as like a nice little trilogy. But FilmCow decided to bring the series back for one more episode back in like 2012. And yeah, the episode's pretty good. It's the same formula that worked with the others, and it's still funny and random. The song's not too bad either. This episode also has Blue and Pink at their most malicious. Instead of inducing bodily harm to Charlie, they just want to straight up kill him, but he's saved by the power of love. Anyway, with the series over finally, it can go into the vault of classic YouTube series. Never mind, there's a finale. The finale premiered in 2021, 9 years after episode 4, to finally answer all the questions the fans had. It's basically just Charlie the Unicorn, but with a plot, and it's 40 minutes long. Anyway, the video is told through non-linear storytelling with events from the present and the past being interspliced. See, like, these guys were keeping the demons at bay or something, but they fucked up and then the demons killed everyone and turned the world into a wasteland until, of course, finding the original Blue and Pink and like taking over their bodies and then finding pleasure in torturing Charlie for like the next 100 years. I don't know. Also, not only are they demons, but they were made for use in the military. Take that as you will, I guess. Anyway, the two get taken back to hell or something, and Charlie's finally able to enjoy some peace. Anyway, I still look back at this series fondly, even though the humor is sort of lol, xd random, with even the fan names for Pink and Blue being lols and Raffle. But I think it manages it well and ends up being funnier than the annoying humor of its time. I'm glad it could end on a nice little note. Also, FilmCow is responsible for Llamas with Hats, which I never really watched, and also has like 15 episodes, so I don't really feel like talking about it. But I don't know, the dead guy in episode 1's pretty up there. Anyway, I found out while editing that the first Charlie the Unicorn video isn't actually the first Charlie the Unicorn video on YouTube, because like most other series I'm going to be talking about, they actually premiered before YouTube was even a thing, so, you know, like Newgrounds. Also, the re-upload got more views, which is funny. Okay, now onto something that actually freaked me out when I was younger. Salad Fingers, which was created by David Firth, or you might know him as the Shrimp from Spy Link Friends. Now, this series is the first thing I thought of when I came up with this video. The entirety of it is creepy, weird, and unsettling. From the drawings and animation, to the sounds and music, and especially the tone. I can easily see this fucking up some young child stupid enough to click on it, but luckily for me, I was a huge puss, so I never dwelled too much on this series. I think I tried to watch it one time, but I can't remember it at all, so maybe I blocked it out. But other than that, the furthest I got was watching The Fine Bros. And I agree with you, random commenter, that shit is cringe.
It's like they stole my diary and are putting it into videos.
Someone check up on this guy, what the fuck? Hey yo, is that the motherfucker from Mighty Med? But yeah, that's usually how I watch creepy videos back in the day. Even at the time of people hating reaction channels, I'd still rather watch Blasphemous HD react to it than watch it myself because, like I said, huge. Anyway, when watching through Salad Fingers today, it's definitely still creepy, but a lot of the magic is sort of lost. Because to be honest, the internet is getting a lot worse over the years, and this stuff really isn't that jarring anymore. Never mind, the thing from episode 3 is still fucking weird.
Oh, I'm gonna oh my god, my TV. Oh, I can't stop.
It can be seen as trying too hard at some points, but it still has its charm, like when he eats himself multiple times. I remember watching a film theory that talks about how the world is the after effect of some horrible nuclear war, with a mention of a great war throughout the series. I don't know if we'll ever get an explanation for any of that. Also, every film theory thing is bullshit. With the series still being made today, it doesn't seem to be going towards some type of ending, but neither was Charlie the Unicorn, so I guess if David Firth really wanted to, he could definitely make an hour-long movie explaining everything. But like I said before, I think the mystery of this fucked up world really benefits the series, and taking it away might tarnish the rest of it, if not done correctly. Also, David Firth himself has claimed that the series really doesn't even have any deeper meaning or anything to be explained, so I doubt that would ever even happen. Honestly, I think that's the best outcome for the entire thing. You know, there is no deeper meaning. David Firth just made this weird to be fucking weird. Things can just be weird and random for the hell of it. You don't need to always have an explanation for everything. Trust me, there is no political message behind Salad shitting out black goo. Damn it. Yeah, in saying that though, Salad Fingers was never really my cup of tea. I can recognize the artistic merit of it and why some people would enjoy it, because they're freaks. But hey, once you start watching it, it's pretty hard to put down. It really pulls you in with how disgusting it is. They even have a pretty cool line of merchandise too. Like, who wouldn't want to own the Flesh Boy 20cm plush toy? I could go right next to the Karen one.
I can't stop.
Or get the Flesh Boy t-shirt so everyone knows to stay the hell away from you. Anyway, I think Salad Fingers does have a single core message that a lot of people have missed. British people are f***ing weird. Okay, so this next video is one that I actually personally remember watching when I was way too young, and that was Paranormal Activity SpongeBob. This amazing video was made by Pachito Matrix, and he's made a lot of these weird SpongeBob parody cartoon over the years. The most well-known being SpongeBob Revenge 2, which you may know from this popular clip. You know, it's the typical edgy content of cartoon characters killing each other, you know, typical early 2010s YouTube, and who the fuck is that? Blood Edge the Griffin looking ass OC. Anyway, back to Paranormal Activity SpongeBob. The video is obviously a parody of the hit film Paranormal Activity, which was actually scary to some people somehow.
Oh, what? I remember that!
The video sees SpongeBob and Patrick trying to find some ghosts in their house, ignoring the fact that SpongeBob and Patrick now live in like a middle-class suburban home and sleep in the same bed. Also, Patrick owns a framed picture of himself standing next to a table. But anyway, Patrick literally gets and the monster is revealed to be fucking Yakon from Dragon Ball Z, who proceeds to them. You wouldn't think that this being a monster from Dragon Ball would have any implications in the series, but it does, just you fucking wait. Episode 2 and 3 aren't really that special, just more and failed attempts to stop the monster, so they call on the only person that could possibly help. Literally fucking Goku. Also, I forgot to mention, episode 4 literally only came out a year ago. This series is 10 years in the making and still feels like it's from 2010. So props for the authenticity. Anyway, using the power of friendship and an ion cannon, they kill Yakon. I don't know what happened to Goku. I think he got left. So canonically, Yakon from Paranormal Activity SpongeBob can beat Goku, and since they managed to beat Yakon, Goku gets absolutely fucking destroyed by 30 billion SpongeBobs. Also, if you're confused by the inclusion of Dragon Ball characters, it's because the creator's Mexican. Also, no, these videos are not traumatic at all, but when am I ever going to talk about these videos again? Anyway, next up, we got Happy Tree Friends. This series was produced by Mondo Media, who at the time of, holy shit, 1999. Happy Tree Friends is older than half the people watching this. That's crazy. Also me, so I don't know why I'm fucking talking. Anyway, Mondo Media was a very popular video production site in the 2000s. They're also responsible for Dick Figures, which is probably the most outdated show on planet Earth. But they managed to make stick figures look hot, so they get a pass, I guess. Anyway, I don't think I need to tell you how popular Happy Tree Friends really was. This shit was everywhere, even when I first discovered it, like in 2012. The 2000s were filled with internet cartoons all about hyper-violence, so it's plain to see why they were so successful. Also because of the art style, you know, with it like pretending to be a kid's show despite having animals being mutilated every episode. Where they kill so many animals, they got fucking dedicated kill counts. Yeah, they just taking this shit way too serious. Hold on, wait, what the fuck? That is not a goddamn kill. I just watched that episode. That bitch survives at the end. This video is totally discredited. Fucking fake fan. Get the fuck out of here. And even though this series premiered before YouTube even existed, they started putting the episodes on the site back in 2006, so it still counts. Anyway, being a boy back in 2012, I really liked Happy Tree Friends because seeing cute things get mutilated was very funny to me. I even remember talking about the show with a couple friends back in elementary school, and all we would talk about is our favorite deaths. I'm honestly surprised they were able to make so many episodes with just this concept alone. You'd think it'd get stale after a while. It did. Anyway, if you couldn't tell, this really didn't traumatize me at all. In fact, I thought it was pretty badass. But you know, reaching the age of 12, the show got pretty stale. Same with Dick Figures. I'll give them props though for being able to put this on an actual TV network, and it even being on Netflix for a while. With any show that goes on for this long, obviously it's gonna fall out of popularity. You can only be so shocked by the cute animal dying so many times, and even though they don't really make full episodes anymore, they'll still bring him back, you know, once in a while. Like just recently they did a crossover with fucking Dumb Ways to Die of all things, which is funny because I was originally going to talk about it, but then I decided to just keep the video more concise. Also, holy crap, they milked the fuck out of this video. Anyway, something like this just isn't as jarring as it was in the 2000s, which is funny because I bet seeing actual easier to see than it is now, especially when live leak isn't even a thing anymore. Also, looking back at this show, I really didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but there's just something so simple about it, and it just brings me back to some good old times. Man, you motherfuckers really got traumatized by Happy Tree Friends? Sonic.exe, bro, lower your fucking tone. My favorite character was Handy because he had no arms. Comment your favorite Happy Tree Friend in the comments. Also, he pulled mad bitches too. What's your favorite idea? Mine is stupid goblin kid running like the stupid goblin he is.
Stop farting, I told you!
Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared is probably the only series on here that actually kept me up at night. Even though I was 11, which is probably too old to be scared of this, I don't know. But look at me in the face right now and try and tell me Michael doesn't freak you the fuck out. Anyway, this very popular web series was made in 2012, so not technically classic YouTube, but whatever. Anyway, this was another series that used the facade of a kid's show, but was actually just up and dark. But instead of it was Existential Dread, and also this is also another series made by British people, so it definitely doesn't help their case. I first heard about this series through Fine Bros, and I can't really remember what I thought of it at the time, but I really started getting into the series when episode 6 dropped. I binge watched the entire series and watched all the film theories on it. It was pretty cool. But then for some reason the show literally just kept me up at night, because as stated earlier, huge. Anyway, the two things that me the most were the aforementioned Michael part of the 3rd episode, and then the entirety of the 4th one. I don't know why, just something about calling the computer just freaked me the fuck out. Even though he's like the least malicious teacher in the entirety of the original web series. Well, except for the notepad, I guess. The 5th episode is easily the most fucked up one, but I don't really remember being too messed up from it, even though that would have been more understandable. Speaking of the 5th episode, it easily has the best song from the original run. I don't think anything even comes close to it. It's just a banger.
Let's get healthy now.
Eventually, you know, the web series like ended and stuff, and then people were just left to speculate and come up with theories and yada yada boring stuff. When are we getting more Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared? Well, it turns out they were actually working on a TV show and released a teaser that no longer exists because the show no longer exists. You can still find leaked footage from the Clay Hill pilot, but I can't say I'm too sad they decided to scrap it because from what I heard, the show was going to be like completely focused on political commentary, which would have been pretty lame in my opinion. Which they agreed with me because they completely scrapped the show and started fresh. And it did eventually come out. It was also completely different from the previous one and the web series, where it focused more on humor with little horror bits sprinkled in here and there. I've watched the show 2 times already and I much prefer it over the web series. They are completely fucking different, but still, the show is actually funny, has a compelling mystery, and the songs are fucking bangers.
Never gonna see that skeleton!
If you want to watch and support the series, go hop over to Channel 4's website and you can watch them all there. And maybe even stop by their website and pick up some merch so we can get a season 2. Please, I need a season 2. The show is actually really good. Anyway, Red Guy's easily my favorite character because he sounds like I hate everything.
I hate the clipboard and I hate this place.
But I can admit that Duck is the funniest character in the show. He always has like the best jokes.
The worm in my brain makes me think that the documents I've been forging have led to many deaths. But I know that's just silly.
And Yellow Guy, I guess. I could probably go through each episode of the web series and the TV show, but I think that'd be fucking boring, so I'm not gonna do it. Okay, another suggestion I saw a lot were creepypastas. Not anything too specific, just creepypastas in general. Fair enough, I was 9 once and a couple of creepypastas freaked me out. Mouse is pretty unsettling and Smile Dog still creeps me out, I can't lie. But a lot of the most famous creepypastas are pretty f***ing lame, and the reason creepypastas are seen as inferior to something like SCP Foundation, which has also become really f***ing lame, which seems to be a pattern with these scary internet trends that go on for way too long. Like the most recent example I can think of would be Analog Horror and the Backrooms. The original Backrooms was pretty creepy, and same with Analog Horror, but over time, oversaturation and just plain garbage made these cool concepts lame as fuck. Like, when I think of the Backrooms, I just think of fucking brain rot. Anyway, like I was saying, the most popular creepypastas are often really stupid. Jeff the Killer, Slender Man, Sonic.exe, Herobrine, Binge Round, Squidward, Dead Bart. Just really dumb. Jeff the Killer is easily the most overrated and worst when it comes to this. That motherfucker has been dragged through the mud, even though his original story is also just fucking shit.
I'm Jeff the Killer! I'm Jeff the Killer! I'm Jeff the Killer!
Same with all the lame video game and cartoon ones that created the stereotype of like blood oozing out of the eyes. I won't lie though, PBG's video on Ben Drown did creep me out. Ben died.
Oh my god, creepypasta reference?
Shut the fuck up. Also Sonic.exe in general. Even though Sonic.exe is easily one of the worst creepypastas ever made. The game carried the shit out of it in the early 2010s, but even that is lame. But people have managed to make this concept kinda cool, I guess. Then Friday Night Funkin' completely ruined it. Seriously, if creepypasta was ever going to make some sort of resurgence, Friday Night Funkin' took them all out back and shot them in the head. I can never look at Sonic.exe the same. Squidward's and Dead Bart are also like the most run-of-the-mill lost episode type creepypastas you can find.
Those Krabby Patties really hit the spot.
And next time you might want to try chewing them. You're gonna blow up like a balloon.
Slender Man was also pretty cool until he became the most overrated character on planet Earth. Stop It Slender was pretty peak though.
I'm Slender Man! Find my pages! Listen to my voice and you'll find the key.
I'm Pro Jared and I cheated on my wife!
The only creepypasta that I've heard get actual praise is like the Godzilla one, which may or may not be true. I'm not going to look into it because I need to be in bed by a reasonable hour tonight. But it looks pretty cool, I guess. I don't think this counts as a creepypasta, but my friend suggested Pet Scott for this video, which you may have heard of before from the slop YouTuber Pyrocynical and his old video he made on it, and never made a sequel to. Anyway, it's basically like a fake video game that's being haunted by a dead child. The series is like 8 years old and has never been explained, but it's pretty cool little horror thing. If you want to know more about it, you can go watch any like 4-hour video on it that tries to explain the plot. Anyway, creepypastas have rightfully become like the laughing stock of horror on the internet. There's a reason nobody takes it seriously anymore, which I would say is a shame considering a lot of the more obscure ones can be actually cool and pretty creepy. But when people think of this when they hear creepypasta, yeah, that's when you know it's time to pack it up.
I put in a Nintendo cartridge and the nostalgia critic and Peter Griffin played at me.
Anyway, long gone are the days of classic YouTube, probably for the best. There's a lot of slop, but, you know, this is the internet. There'll always be slop. This video was originally going to cover a lot more than just, like, traumatic stuff, but I ended up cutting a lot of the topics to keep the theme of the video more consistent. But hey, I might still talk about them someday. Maybe. Hell, Charlie the Unicorn barely made it in here. And I never did find that Gmod video I was thinking about, where like Goofy was brutally murdered in front of Mickey Mouse and there's like hyper-realistic screaming and like the Gmod blood was everywhere. I don't know. I remember that video f***ing me up, so if you have any idea, please help me out. Okay, that's the end of the video. Subscribe and like if it was cool. If you hated it, tell me in the comments all the reason it sucked. Okay, thanks for watching.